Hi, this is Eddie from NetStream Communications. If you're like me, your knowledge of operating systems is limited strictly to Windows. It's safe, simple, and standard, so why use anything else, right? Well, Bobby, our network engineer, decided he was going to kick me out of my comfort zone a little while back and challenged me to build him a web server using Linux. I was very apprehensive about this at first. I played around with the iMac in the editing studio before and found it to be confusing, cold, and completely different from what I was used to doing with my Windows machine. Much to my surprise, however, this would turn out to be a fun and exciting experience. He wanted me to use Ubuntu Server for my machine, although, as I understand it, the desktop version would have worked just fine too. Ubuntu is one of many different flavors of Linux. It was developed by a South American entrepreneur named Mark Shuttleworth, who was working with the team that developed Debian, which is another distribution of Linux. They named their project Ubuntu after the Kusha word, which roughly translated means the belief in a universal bond of sharing that connects all humanity, or simply humanity towards others, depending on who you ask. It's an apt name, given the hundreds of online communities with thousands of users who take part in contributing to the code, checking it for bugs, and most importantly of all, discussing ideas with other users and answering their questions about the software. That last part was a godsend. I loaded up the OS and was presented with a little more than a blinking cursor on a black screen. Command line interfaces, while being very cool, can be very confusing. It's a lot less user-friendly than the graphical user interfaces most people are used to. And if you don't know the exact code for what you want to do, the computer's not going to work with you. So I turned to my laptop and hit up Google. Ubuntu's been around since early 2004, so chances are if you have a question, somebody's already asked it. With just a little bit of research, I got answers on how to configure my network interface, install Apache and PHP, and set up SSH. 45 minutes later, I had a working web server. I quickly changed Apache's default web page to a picture of a lolcat and went to tell Bobby I had finished. Obviously, setting up a server to use for your business would be a little more involved in the process I went through. I didn't even touch on setting up the firewall or configuring permissions, though I'm confident I could have easily found posts on how to do those as well. Bottom line is that it's easier than you might think to set up and use an operating system that's not Windows. I'm actually thinking of rebuilding my file server at home using Ubuntu Desktop. If you look, you can find all sorts of blog posts or webzine articles touting Linux as being more secure, robust, and far and away more cost-effective than Windows. It's definitely worth checking out. Without trying to sound like a hipster, it's nice to have an operating system that's not so mainstream.